Australian dating culture. Day one follower. I appreciate you, Pauline. I appreciate you. Make sure to subscribe, mate. Would you like to join the Discord at all, Pauline? You've got to get in the community, the other Aussies, you got to join us Aussies. I don't know if you're Australian, but you got to join if you haven't already. Would you like a link to the Discord, or are you just here to chill for a little bit? It's up to you. Let me know. Let me know if you'd like to join the Discord. Yes? That's what I like to fucking hear. Let's fucking go. Let's get it, boo-boo. That's what I like to hear. Hold up. I'll put it in here. I'll put it in here, Pauline. I got you. I got you.
I feel like there is a bit of a stuck-up attitude.
It's a city of immigrants, right?
A place like Sydney, it can probably be quite intimidating.
Australia is not the place to come.
No, it definitely is.
Yeah.
I can think of a better place to be single.
There's less and less opportunities as you get older to meet people organically.
It's a good community down here. Get yourself to sit. Actually, no, I don't want more people coming here. Think about it, but like.
In this video, I'm asking men,
Interesting.
what's Australian dating culture like? I'll also be tackling the question, what are Australian women like to go out with and date? I'm David Thorpe, dating coach here in Sydney, Australia, and this video is born out of all the street interviews that I've been doing over the last 6 months, asking men about their thoughts on dating. Also, stay around to the end of the video where I'll be sharing my own thoughts, opinions and experiences on Australian dating culture. As an Englishman, I've been here for 6 years.
Wow.
I've had a great single life, and last week I married an Australian girl. So
Congratulations, man. That's great.
I've definitely got a lot to say on the topic. But without any further waiting, let's cut straight to those interviews.
Well, in Sydney in particular, Sydney's pretty difficult, I would say. I feel as if, I mean, this probably happens to some degree in a lot of international cities, but in Sydney, I feel like there is a bit of a stuck-up attitude.
Ooh. Yeah, women in Sydney, they're very arrogant. They can be very arrogant. Depends what nationality, but they can be very arrogant. Not even necessarily dating, just interacting with. They're very stuck up.
Not just, I mean, I obviously see it with women, it probably is with men too. I think people think they're better than they actually are because they're in an international city. But who knows, I haven't really looked outside of Sydney. So in a sense, it's hard for me to compare to other places. But yeah, it is a bit rough. But also it's my age, I'm not even 22 yet. So
Wow, okay.
yeah, so
Looking good.
that definitely plays into it.
You've got a mild
Damn, bro. You look older than 22.
Scottish accent. I bet the women have no idea where you're from.
I've heard that it's not that strong, to be honest. I'm surprised you actually picked up on it. But no, I feel like, again, that probably works to my advantage here as well a wee
Yes.
bit. So there's that as well. I didn't really think of it.
I found that as well when I was single. Like, women, they seem to love the accent and I think the way we speak and things like that. I don't know why, because I'm not that unique. I mean, I think the second most populous nation in Sydney is UK. And yeah, they love it.
Yeah, it's insane. Women like that shit, bro. They like accents. But hey, for all the Aussies out there, if you go somewhere else, you go to like Canada or something, who knows, maybe your accent will be rare. You know what I mean? It's also the product of your environment. It's also what you do in that environment. Sydney, you can thrive. You can find the right one. You just need to be in the right places. Where are you meeting women? You're meeting them on the streets? Are you meeting them in restaurants and workplaces? Or are you meeting them in a club? At a club, they've got millions of options. They've got a lot of rich guys in there buying bottles, buying sections, allowing them in. You're not even going to be able to compete in that. But in the right environment where you can create your attention as, being rare, such as, public places, you will do well because you're approaching them, which 95 or 98% of men will not do. So you just got to find a way where you can make your attention and yourself charismatic, organic, high energy, and rare.
I don't get it.
That's all it is. Women love attention. So if you can make your attention rare, you'll do well.
Yeah, exactly. No, neither do I. But I mean, I feel like maybe back home as well, like you would just, if somebody's got a different accent, you'd be attracted. It's different, right? You want something that is a bit, not the norm.
A bit different. Yeah.
But what's your experience being over here? Are you in a relationship? Are you single?
Yeah. So I'm in a relationship now.
Yeah.
So I had a great single life. So I predominantly approach women on the street, face to face, get numbers, go on dates, have a lot of short-term fun. I think I got a bit stuck on the merry-go-round in my early 30s, like I was just kind of doing that, and then when a relationship would appear and come out as a fruition, like I wouldn't really know what to do, so I just kind of like just bin it off so I could stay single. I didn't even know why. So it took a lot of time to figure that out, and then I met my girlfriend I was on my lunch break in the city. It was a street approach, and then from there just went into a relationship. So
See, where you met her, on a lunch break in an organic public place, not a club. You're never going to find your wife in a club, bar, none of those places. So you need to be very specific where you choose your partner. And a relationship takes a lot of work. You need to be willing to put in the work as well. You know, you can't just treat it as a single attitude where you just clock in, clock out. You got to really think of ways where you can make it work, and it takes work. It's a development. It's a relationship. You got to make it evolve. You as a man got to take the leadership position and guide where it needs to go. You need to navigate the best way you can with your history, who you are, what you've been through, and them as well. You take the responsibility of guiding, not the woman. The woman is just there for the most part for the ride and obviously to support you and add value, but you're the one that dictates where it goes. If it's going to go up to where marriage, or it's going to go into the ground and blow up. It's all to do with that, and you got to have boundaries.
I've been in that a couple of years now, so it's going great. I'm very happy. But I had a great time here as well, and I think, look, you know, I wouldn't have moved here if there wasn't lots of positives about life in Sydney, you know, like the weather. This is winter. I mean, this is pretty outrageous, isn't it? Yeah.
So good. We made some good life choices.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also for a bloke as well, I mean, a lot of guys, you know, if they're looking to have fun and stuff, I think they wouldn't think Australia is a good pick, you know, like Russia, Brazil, America. You know, I've been to these places and it really is quite spectacular. But, you know, Sydney as well, like I had a fantastic time being single, and I think a lot of guys just think Australia is not the place to come.
No, it definitely is.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of a better place to be single.
Yeah.
I mean, Bondi in summer is just the best. Like, I'm biased. I take a lot of shit for saying it, but Bondi is one of the best places. I can't say in the world because I haven't been to every place in the world, but unparalleled ratio.
It is.
Of good people as well. Like, and again, people challenge that, but most people I've met have been nice enough. Mm-hmm. So, you know, my perceptions, my reality. It's a good community down here. Get yourself to sit. Actually, no, I don't want more people coming here. Think about it, but like,
yeah. I find the women here confident, feminine.
Depends. What's their background? Like you can't blatantly say that because the West has become more masculine. Maybe they're more feminine compared to other Western countries. Maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe compared to the UK, that could be quite a possibility. But the fact of the matter is that, bro, to say that they're flat out feminine, compare them to Asian countries, bro. I think you'll find out very quickly that is not the case. It's all about perspective. It's all about where you've been, who you've interacted with, who you've been with. Not even just romantic relationships, just relationships in general. You're gonna be very well versed, and you've got to have a good understanding how the world works to be able to make a statement like that. And again, he seems like a competent bloke, a guy that's sort of figuring out, might not be able to handle women in Australia too. It's all about your tolerance. There's a lot of different aspects, bro. It really depends on the individual and how much you're willing to give. Because that's a relationship between a woman and a man. A man provides and protects, but it's also you got to be able to willing to be able to give. And how much you're willing to give and how much are they willing to take. If they take too much, that's when either a relationship collapses, aka you break up with them, or they take so much where you disappear and they leave you. That's the reality of dating, especially in Australia.
And they're far more interested in looking after themselves. Like, I think the fascination...
That's true, fitness and that sort of thing. That's really true in Australia. Like, you compare it to America and the UK, that's very true. But it also makes them very much self-absorbed. And it also depends where their mindset is at. Is it from just a health perspective, or is it from a social media perspective, getting validation from other people by looking good and posting provocative pictures? You got to keep it a buck. Got to keep it real.
With gym, exercise, the food I think is so much better here than the UK. Whereas,
True.
certainly the women from my village are more interested in biscuits and the sofa.
Yeah, I think that's something to do with the weather and the darkness. Like, I didn't really appreciate that until I came over here. Like, went back to Scotland in the winter time, gets light at 9 a.m., dark at 3:30
Yeah,
p.m.
yeah.
So what incentive is there? It's cold, it's -5, but here it's like, you wake up, the sun's out at 5 a.m., you're already late, it's already busy down here, right? Like, everyone's in the same sort of momentum. And if you're into that, which I am, and I love it, it gives me energy seeing people like getting after it and, just focusing on their, ambitions. And that's kind of what you see is, it comes back to you, right? It's like we're visual people.
Yeah.
So, you see everyone, I mean, we're all wearing North Face puffers and shit, but it's not great. Yeah, overall, it's a great place to be. No
It is.
regrets.
It is. And how are you
Australia, Sydney is it's a definitely beautiful place. Sydney is by far the best city I've ever been at. By far. It's the best. When you've truly been to other places and you compare it to Sydney, nothing comes close, bro. I've been to I've been to a few cities in Australia. I'm going to travel more, obviously overseas too. But where I have been so far, I can definitely say Sydney is the best. It definitely feels. Oh my god.
finding Australia? Because obviously
It definitely feels. It definitely energizes you. I got to keep it a buck. It definitely pumps energy to inside you. I can't explain it. Like, I want to do a documentary on it. Like, Sydney, it gives me the most energy, and I got something planned.
you're the first Papua New Guinean I've met, which is pretty amazing. So I'm happy with that. But how are you finding Australia compared to Papua New Guinea for a young man?
It's not that I love Australia. Honestly, if we're comparing it back home, it's not even that hard of a question to answer. Australia's way better.
Okay.
But I love my country, and I think Sydney is just a very big city. It's a very big city. It's filled with a lot of cultures here, like compared to like Queensland and like Western Australia, Perth,
Oh my god.
Melbourne.
Voice crack, it's very true. Melbourne is a shithole. Queensland, Gold Coast is good, but doesn't come close to Sydney. Gold Coast, I'll probably say, is like a second, maybe third. It's tough, but nothing comes close to Sydney.
And all these other places. Australia's good. It has a lot of opportunities, like for dating, if you're looking for dating, and for work, for other things. I love Australia. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good country. Yeah.
It is pretty good.
I'm not necessarily a big guy, and most women in Sydney that I've experienced, they look for someone that's like a pretty big, pretty tall, that can make them feel like, what do you call it? I don't know, be more dominant towards them. It's about like you being the bigger guy in the relationship. But I mean, it sort of depends on what you want, what you're looking for in a woman. Yeah.
Okay. But you're quite broad guy. You've got.
I like
got
to think
some
I am.
stature,
I
you've
like.
got stature, yeah?
I like to think I am. I mean, I try, but not enough. Not enough. But I'm not not necessarily looking for anything at the moment. So it doesn't really like. I just do it for myself.
Okay, sure. That's how it should be, shouldn't it? Yeah, rather than for other people. How would you describe Sydney as a single man?
I think my experience is probably different to anyone else's experience. I mean, I'm 6'7", so I do.
Holy shit, bro! He would carve up if he tries to say like, oh no, you don't shit, nah, bro. You're carving up.
A lot of tension, which can be a good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
I do think that in Sydney, it's harder to kind of approach women because everyone is kind of like in their own bubble quite a bit. Most people have their headphones in or they.
Yeah, Sydney can become an isolating place, but you'd be surprised. You open up a conversation, you'd be surprised how many people are open. We're just, yeah, I don't know. It's your approach, and it just depends on the situation. I'm sure that's like that everywhere. I don't think it's just Sydney, but we do suffer some things. Yeah, we're very much an interesting place. It's a 50-50 in regards to that. It's a 50-50 when you approach a person. That's how it is. Whereas America, it'd probably be like 80% people are open to talk. Here in Sydney, we're very much closed off in exactly our own bubble. So it's a 50-50 of them opening up. It's not like closed off, but it's a 50-50. That's all it is, And that's better odds than a lot of other places, and it's a safe place, so fuck it. 50-50 chance with every person that you approach, you eventually have a conversation, be able to do content or pick up or whatever. You'll do well, regardless.
There is earphones plugged in, and they're not really looking to be engaged or be approached. So it's like, if you want to approach a woman, you kind of have to put yourself out there a little bit, and
of course.
Take that step forward, and in certain social like.
Yeah, of course. The women here they don't give you as many cues as other places. You sort of have to do it all yourself.
Environments, but that's also the reason why a lot of people start turning towards these dating apps, because it's like, no one wants to talk to you. It's not a very like communal kind of city where everyone is socializing, unless you're going with a group of friends.
Yes.
If you're an outsider, no one's gonna just be like, hey, come and hang out.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you kind of put yourself in a situation to be invited. So yeah, you kind of have to do a little bit, put yourself out there a little bit more, but at the same time, I wouldn't even say it's just Sydney. I think it's just the West in general, like Western society in general. People are kind of really locked into their phones or into whatever they've got going on. They're just super focused. So that kind of leaves out the whole dating or approaching or interacting with people, outside of social kind of events.
But when it comes to bars and nightclubs, every now and then you're going to be getting stuck in, which is admirable.
Yeah, exactly. And doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how tall or short you are, doesn't matter, as long as you try and put yourself out there. I've seen.
It's all about approach. I can give you advice on that. The old school way is the best way. Social media is never going to work. It's saturated. You're cooked, especially as an average guy. So if you're going up to chicks and approaching them, you're making your attention and yourself stand out against everyone else in the market. Okay? Because the rich guys are doing both. Okay? The rich guys have got the money to promote on social media, and they've also got like AKA status, and they also approach in person. So at the very least, you can get a 50% of the pool by just approaching in person. Just make yourself look presentable, work out, take care of yourself, approach, be confident, and you'll be fine.
Men who've had a lot of success at bars and nightclubs because they're putting themselves out there. They're willing to accept rejection. Everyone gets rejected. It's part of it, and it builds character, it builds resilience. You learn how to deal with certain people and how to deal with rejection from being rejected. It's like, I play basketball, so there's a famous saying, you got to shoot your shot, or every shot you don't take, every shot you miss, every shot you don't take, you'll never score.
You'll never score.
Yeah.
You'll never know.
Yeah.
What do you think about Sydney as a place for women and to meet women?
I think it's cool. It's definitely a lot more diverse than where I'm from.
Yes. Lots of exotic people.
Yeah. Well, everyone's from all around the world. I'd say most of the people in Newey are like from Newey or not too far away, whereas everyone.
It's crazy how they call it Newey. Newcastle would be an interesting place to go. I've never been there. I've only been to like near there, which is like Nelson Bay, Gosford, Central Coast, Terrigal, those places. Never been to Newcastle itself. Been to the airport. That's as far as I've been to. But it's interesting, It's I'd definitely like to check it out. I think it'd be a very closed-off place. Sydney it has the potential, because it's such a, you could say, multicultural and diverse place. It's open to the possibility of different walks of life, so the people are more open to different walks of life. But saying that, you gotta make that extra leap. They're not gonna allow you in. They're gonna sit in their own little bubble. It's very true. Aussies are very much like that. There's a specific type of syndrome. I can't remember. I think it's poppy syndrome or something, where we're very much closed off. We're very closed-minded. Because we're a colony. We're a big colony. We're convicts, man. From the UK. It's in our blood. It's in our foundation of how we've built this country. It's just how it is. So it's very hard to break out of that, whereas US is very different.
Everyone here is like everywhere.
Yeah, from all over the world. So yeah, it's pretty good. And how do you find Sydney as a place, as a single man? Like, what's the dating scene like here? How would you describe it?
I haven't been single long enough to tell you that. If I'm honest, it's not I would say nothing out of the ordinary. I've been fortunate to travel a lot. It's not too dissimilar to the rest of the world, but that said, there's nothing that makes it overwhelmingly difficult. I would say that there's less and less opportunities as you get older to meet people organically. Like when I was in LA, for example, like there's actual events or like networking events where you actually go and meet people that I saw advertised everywhere, but like here I didn't, or maybe I haven't really looked, but it seems like here it's commonplace in like the same as the Western world.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, I agree with you, and I think Australia isn't massively different to Western cities. And I find Australians very friendly. So
yeah, Australians are friendly, and then it's so diverse, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So like in the same way, the fact that you look different isn't really a problem. Like you kind of like survey just the people around you. You can't find 5 people that look the same.
No,
which is awesome, right? That's what you want.
I think 1/3 of Australia's population was born overseas anyway. So or 1/5 or 1/3, I can't remember. But it's about that.
Well, if you actually go back, we were having a chat about it before. That like it's a city of immigrants, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Even the British in 1700s, they were still immigrants, right?
Yep.
So naturally, being different is good.
Good. Many men also look for advice on like Australia. Is it a good place for dating? Like, are the women nice? What are your views as an Englishman halfway around the world here?
Very true. It's just in our DNA to be accepting of immigration. It's just a fact, so it's very true.
I've only been here for about 5 days so far.
Okay.
But no, so not great on that. And to be honest, I've been here before a long time ago, and great place. I think anywhere you can find anyone who's great. So I don't think it's that. I can imagine though in a place like Sydney, it could probably be quite not competitive, but also quite intimidating. You've got a lot of good-looking people there. It's just true. I don't know. That's my thoughts on 5 days here.
Yeah. Okay, well, I've been here 5 years, and I had a great time when I was a single man. I cold approached my fiance in the city, but I lived in Manly for 5 years, and it was a really great place. And I think a lot of men, my friends back in London, Australia is just not a place that they think is good for women. They're thinking about Russia, Brazil, America, things like that, and Australia is just not a place, and I really disagree with that. I think the women here are very feminine, and they're very different compared to Australians in London, where I lived in Clapham, and they're just getting drunk and throwing pint glasses around and fighting one another. And when I came here, the Australian women were very different. It's quite bizarre.
I don't know. I think when you take it regionally, you will find like you take Clapham for example. Clapham's a bit of a, for those who don't know, Clapham's a bit of a stronghold for graduates or for young working professionals in London, and it does attract a lot of Australians. But it is, you do get a real kind of mix. You get a mix of people no matter what. You get, you've got the Australian, Russian.
It's good and bad. Like, it's good because it allows people to be open for any possibility, but it's also bad because then if too much immigration, too much of that can also cause, less, less unity. It can cause that.